And here we are doing the last of the state trees for the time being, anyway. When we get more enemies, more behavior will need to be made, but for the time being, that'll be the last one. So this boss fight is also probably the most complex one in a lot of ways. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see, I guess. Before we get started, of course, I want to pick up its behavior tree, which is in here, the Reaper boss. Because its behavior tree is definitely the most extensive that I have. But I don't know if that's going to translate to being the most complex state tree as well. So we'll have to figure that out. But probably it will be in the end. Hello, good evening to everybody joining in. So, effectively, what we do here is when he's below 5% health, we also put a 60-second cooldown on that just because. We do a certain ability, which is his ultimate ability, which is teleporting away and all that kind of stuff. We have all that set up. And then we change his state to always being passive after that. And passive is the same thing that we did before for the knight, which is in this case stopping his movement, which is done through a different means than the character movement component. It's moving over his spline. Then we play a montage, and then we make him move again. And we reset his defense, which is a like explicit task in this case, and then we set him back to being aggressive. But if he is above 5% health or 5% defense, there's actually a logic issue here because that means that he never gets. Well, oh no, he does. I was going to say there's a logic issue because he never gets below like 5%, but he does during the duration of this animation, and that is when you can do like massive damage to it. So that's actually fine. So if he is in the normal range above 5% defense, we check whether or not he is below 50%. Then he has a certain chance to do an ability, which is teleport attack to switch to passive. But he doesn't actually switch to passive in this case. He just does the teleport attack seemingly. So that's pretty cool. And then if he is less than 700 units away, he attacks with attacks that are meant for close range. And otherwise, he attacks with a different set of attacks which have like a random chance to pick that work on like a distance. So have a wider spread or a projectile or something along those lines. So that's the basic like rundown of how this works. And the way we have this set up, we talked about this a little bit in the Discord a while ago. It's not the most elegant way maybe to set it up, but that's where state trees will be a lot easier because we can just do a, hey, have an X% chance to do this or this or this or this. And the reason that these are all individual tasks is because I want to give them all their individual cooldowns as well. So that's where the cooldown that we made like 2 streams ago, I think, will come back into play because I knew I was going to need that sooner rather than later again. So we're going to reconstruct this in a state tree for this boss fight, which I need to probably make a save file to even get to this boss fight because I don't think I have one because I deleted a bunch of stuff. Let's characters, enemies, blueprints, characters. Oh no, blueprints, enemies, characters, ground is where I have them. I probably should make a better folder to put these in, to be honest with you, but we'll live. So let's make a state tree, which apparently is one word. State tree components, ST Reaper boss. So we have the root, and from there we have effectively two substates again, which is all of this, which is aggression, and this, which is passive. I was going to say passion, that's a different thing. So we have aggressive and passive again, as with most of these. So we have aggressive, aggressive, thank you very much. And then we'll also have passive. The passive state is the easiest to do because it is, once again, just making him stop moving. Which, at this point, I kind of wish there was something, maybe there is a way to do this, but I wish you could tie certain code to transitions. I guess you can. I guess you can just like make it check. But that's the thing. They work as conditions. What I would want to do is saying, hey, when this transition happens, also do this task. That would be ideal. I don't think it can do that. But that would be ideal if that was a possibility. Because that would add some extra flexibility, but we can live without it. So simply, what this does, so we can open this up. We should be able to open this up, but maybe not. There we go. Just takes a lot. That's the montage, though. No, I won't. Oh, did I make this a C++ thing? Might have made this a C++. Well, then we're going to go in here. Greetings from a little studio in the USA. That is greetings back right at you. From a dude in Europe. So where did I put this? In source? Action RPG project, enemies, AI, presumably. It's been a while. Oh, here. Reaper movement pool. So yeah, all that this does is it gets the enemy, which it gets from the pawn, which it gets from the controller, and it just sets can move to either being true or false. So I guess we can reproduce that for the state tree, because I don't really have a better way of doing that. But ideally, what I would want to do, and that's what I was getting at, is I would want to make this... actually, I think we can do that. No, hold on, we can do that. Because that is a thing that tasks can do now. Think about it. When we enter the passive state, I wanted to set the movement to being false. Now when we exit the passive state, I can set the movement to being true, so that I don't have to like explicitly do that in a bunch of like different places as a separate task. Well, then the question is it worth doing that? Because I might as well make it a different task, right? Because what it comes down to is effectively just this, right? Is we either have a task on here that sets it to not move when it enters, and then when this task finishes, which I'm just assuming that it finishes tasks when a state is like left, presumably it would, then it sets moving back to true. The alternative is having a task on a state that I just put here, then like do the other stuff to set it to false, and then have that same task, which is like a bool variable, of course, here set that to true. I think this is more reusable if I end up wanting to like set it anywhere else at any point. Because I can't really see a lot of other situations where I want to, well... I would effectively always want to tie stopping and restarting the movement to a specific state, wouldn't I? Because if it does an ability, the abilities already like have this functionality built in as well, though. The abilities that he has, like when he does an ability, he stops moving. I guess technically speaking, I could get rid of that, but now it's already in there. There's also no reason to go back in and like mess with that. So I don't know. Let's, for the sake of argument, for experimentation, make a task that we put on the passive state itself. Yeah, I think we'll learn something out of that, right? So that'll be worth it. State retask. Set Reaper boss movement pool. It's the most specific thing ever. Yeah, so on state enter and on state exit. So it's not even like the task. It's actually like when the state is entered and when the state is left. So surely this works. Hopefully. Actor. Like, well, we might as well immediately make this like Reaper boss, right? And that's gonna scream at me in a moment. Does this actually, question, does that work? That's a parameter, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to tasks, there we go. Yeah, so capitalization is not important. That's what I was asking about. Reaper boss. So there we go. So yeah, this should, when he enters this state with all the substates in mind, it should stop moving, and then when it exits, it should restart moving. In theory, I think. We can test that. By just adding like a delay state here. So you're going to be aggressive, which is just waiting for the time being. Very aggressively waiting. So let's just like add a delay task here for like 15 seconds. And let's add a child state to this. So this should effectively just be, don't even need to add a child state to this, really, do we? Because we can just add in play animation. I'm not going to figure out what animation it was, but I think we still have those. That montage, yeah, that taunting montage, so that's good. That's kind of all there is to it. Then once this is finished on state complete, we can go back to aggression. So we don't need to have like a bunch of subtasks here. Just it being passive means that it's gonna like laugh at you for a bit and then go back to, well, not doing any of that. But it'll be moving around. So yeah, let's that's a little loud. I have to walk all that way. That's slightly annoying, but what I am going to do before I do any of that is I'm going to go in over my speakers. There we go. I'm going to go into my levels folder, the purple levels, and I just need the keys to be picked up, to be honest with you. That's XP pickup. I don't even think I use it anymore. I don't even think I have an XP there anymore, to be honest with you. So let's just set those events to have happened. And we're going to go on a little walk. all the way to the boss room, which is not that far away. Especially if you don't do... Also, I changed this level around. Have I shown that on stream yet? I changed this level around. It's now like focused on a more downward direction to hopefully like imply that the way forward in any like choice that you have in this entire dungeon is going down means progress. That's the idea anyway. I don't know if it's gonna like really translate that well, but I guess we'll see. The attack animation is still a little fucked. I guess I didn't copy those over properly. We'll check that out in a moment. If I can first remember what the actual path through this maze is. I made it myself. I don't think it's this one. I think... it's this. Am I doing this right the first time through? That will be the... well, that will actually be the first time that I do it right. It seems like it did. Fantastic. And now everybody knows the way through the maze. Good luck reproducing that of just seeing me go through it like that though. Especially once assets are in place, it's going to look much different. So yeah, this is kind of the thing where I'm like, yeah, you can go here and you actually do need to go there. To pick up one of the keys, I believe. But this is the actual like way forward. So realistically, I probably want to have people go through. Oh, also, I make this little thing that always like looks at you. So you really have the feeling that it's a cannon, because people playtesting did not pick up on the fact that that thing was going to shoot at them, which is fair because it was literally just a box. Please don't shoot me. Don't fall off. Still, the camera clipping through the walls is annoying. I don't know why it does that. It should. Yeah, here we are. Alright. The timing on these is actually perfect now, because you can't just run your way through. I think if you're fast enough, you might be able to run your way through. Not entirely sure about that, but it might be possible. But the window is so small that you're likely going to be standing still there for a moment and have to worry about getting shot, which is the idea. Anyway, we've made it to the boss room, which also doesn't have a back wall anymore, because that was fucking up the lighting a little bit. Let's make a save file for this. Just save slot 1. Okay. I just realized that we... what? Don't care. I just realized that we had one other issue, and that is that this dude does not yet have that state tree assigned to him. Eventually, he's going to not have it automatically triggered, because he's going to have like an intro cutscene. But I don't have an intro cutscene yet for him, which I should make one, to be fair. Not really priority right now. While we're at it, Reaper, the Reaper itself, the basic one. Its attack is messed up. Yeah, it's doing the ghost attack. It should do the Reaper attack left and right. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so now everything should be in place to test out whether or not the passive state works, like pretty much as a whole. So while we test that, how's everybody doing? Okay. He's moving very slowly. Why is he moving so slowly? He is moving, but very slowly. I guess we wait for about like 15 seconds. Kind of hard to tell when it's been 15 seconds though. But it feels like it's been more than 15 seconds. He's moving so slowly. Why is he moving so slowly? Why are these particles black? Many good questions. I don't know. Is it because he's constantly stopping and restarting? Surely not. Surely that's not what's happening, right? Let's zero that out to see whether or not it's somehow messing with him. Also, hold on, there's some wacky lighting going on here. It doesn't have light importance volumes or anything like that. And I've been working on getting rid of the lumen in my project because it's honestly with a cell shading look, it's still slow. Why is it still so slow? I didn't. I think it is because this might. I don't know what it is. Set Reaper movement speed is what we use here as well. So maybe we need to set like the Reaper movement speed by default to like 650. Speed. Movement speed. It's set to 100. So yeah, that's probably like, oh, that's probably too much. Yeah, the lumen actually is messing a little bit with the cell shading, and I spent some time today to see how the game performed without lumen on Steam Deck, because I do want it to be able to run at least decently well on Steam Deck on like decent settings, not like all the way down to like low settings. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want. There we go. So I tested how it works without lumen on Steam Deck, and the performance increase was massive, first and foremost, as you might expect it to be. On like full-on epic settings, like on ultra or whatever you want to call it. It's not doing the taunting though, which is weird. No, that's not weird at all, actually. With lumen. And lumen is the only difference that I did. I'm not even like optimizing for like the amount of lights that I'm or using lower poly meshes, which in some cases I could tend to do, or using lower resolution textures and all that kind of stuff. Just getting rid of lumen and going back to a more traditional like light baking workflow. On the highest settings, cinematic not counted because that's not meant to be played on. I went from about 11 frames per second on the Steam Deck to about 35 in the starting areas of the game. And on medium settings, I went from about 40 to a pretty solid like 60 down to 55 at times. So, and I believe that is just because the Steam Deck has a 60 Hz screen, so it doesn't go above 60. So that is massively worth it. I'm going to have to deal with all like the extra headache that comes with that, but that means that people without like RTX cards can actually like play the game, which is nice. Again, I also wanted to run on Steam Deck. Yeah, so this just goes back to root. It should go on state completed to passive. Lumen is pretty heavy. I think its impact isn't as big if you have a like ray trace capable GPU. I think, even though it's supposed to be a more friendly replacement for hardware ray tracing, if you have a like RTX, didn't stop moving, did it? If you have an RTX card, I think the impact of lumen is like significantly less than on non-ray tracing hardware. So And the most common card, I believe, on Steam at this point has moved on to being an RTX 3060. So most people on Steam do have ray tracing hardware at this point. But there's still like a lot of people who don't, as is evident from like talking to people in Discord who are like, yeah, but I'm like on a 1060 or a 1660 still. Like, there's like also just like parts of the world where getting the newest hardware within like a generation or two is not necessarily a thing most people do. And I don't really want to exclude like entire portions of the world as potential people that can play the game. So that's a thing as well. Oh yeah, I removed that task, so that is why that. Okay. But it seemed to work. Why does this not work anymore? I just missed that Reaper, I think. Well, I don't know if it worked because the thing we were testing was actually to do with that task. So I don't know where I said it seemed to work because I literally couldn't have thought of that thing. Just gotta wait for like 15 seconds, man. And he moves ever so slightly slower than me. Okay, he doesn't stop. Wait. I'm an idiot. I didn't actually program the fucking thing. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, so obviously movements, I think it's like called allow move or something like that. Is that not a... Oh, it's only added anywhere. No, it's not. What the fuck? Wait, what? Is on Spline. Blueprint reinforce. Okay, so it's called B is on Spline. Sure. Is on Spline. And we said it. Is on Spline. My laptop version 4080 struggled with keeping above 40 frames a second in scenes where it's utilized a lot. Huh, okay. I haven't played that many games, I think, that utilize... Like, the thing is, there's not that many games actually like released running on Unreal 5, aside from like Fortnite, and I don't really play Fortnite. So I'd have to like actually play some games that run on it. But that is surprising that it's that happy even on a 4080. Yeah, we kind of just do this, right? I suppose that's where Mega Lights comes in, if you have a lot of lights. But that's kind of like the issue with Luma, right? With implementation for global illumination in general, is that it is kind of an all or nothing switch. It's not like you can have certain lights. Well, you technically can in like certain areas because you can do it through a post-processing volume. Okay, so this works. That's fantastic. You can do it through like post-processing, but you can't say, hey, this light is a global illumination and these lights I still want to bake. Because they're not going to be like moving, they don't need to do any fancy stuff. I just want them to like be as like filling in, essentially. it would be ideal if you could do a combination of the two, because there's certain things that are just like very nice about Lumen, where like emissive materials actually emit light into the world, that kind of stuff, which I'm sacrificing in order to like switch off of Lumen. And I really did like those features, but if it's just an all or nothing kind of thing, just that isn't worth it for me at the moment. Okay. So now that we're in the aggression state, what do we do? At least this one doesn't have to work on timers, so that's a little bit less of a pain in the ass than the night that we did earlier this week, which I actually did fix. It was actually super simple to fix. What we ended up doing is making him bigger, apparently. Let's not do that. I said I would show this off. So what I ended up doing is, I don't even remember. I did 3 things. Number 1 is these pointed to the root after they were done, which obviously broke things. The most important thing is that when move to player failed, so we have this task where there's a note in here that I'm not using. When this failed, it would finish the task with a failure, which means that it would reset back to the root of the tree. And apparently when a task fails, the state tree prevents it from going back into that task immediately again. That is what I'm gathering. I haven't like looked that up or tested that, but that's what I'm gathering happens of the behavior that I've seen, which would make sense as well. So from that point on, it doesn't go back into move to player. It doesn't have any way to go into any of these other things. So what it does instead is it goes into passive. So when it aborts this AI move to, because it can no longer reach me, aka I'm off the ground, stuff like being hit back or even jumping, it would go into passive. So what I actually end up doing, and it's super easy, is going into here and where is it? It's an engine navigation somewhere, I think. Navigation system. Under the supported agents in Recast navmaj, you have this query extend, and that is how far like it extends off of the navmaj to check if it can like reach a certain point. And I just, as you can see, increased the Z a lot so that it can extend up, and that fixed it. So Nightboss works now. That's sad. And then Unreal 5 editor. I'm also not aware of any games that I played that utilize Lumen. Yeah, I don't think there's that many. Does that Indiana Jones game actually like run on Unreal Engine? Because that probably uses Lumen, if so. But I haven't played that. Is it the Great Circle? Engine? No, that's a different engine. That's that's not even Unreal. So that even doesn't run on Lumen. Yeah, so in that case, I don't even know about any games, because a lot of games coming out like to this day run on Unreal 4, because like a game's development cycle is anywhere from like 3 to 5 years. And like big projects tend to maybe not run on the latest versions anyway of engine. So a lot of games probably still run on like 425 or something when they're coming out today. There's that Marvel game, like the Captain America game that's coming out. That runs on like a very recent version of Unreal, as far as I know. I don't know when it's been released. I don't think it's been released yet, so couldn't have played that. But that'll be an interesting one. That'll probably be one of the first like big releases that uses a lot of like recent Unreal tech. Like really implementing like nanite with like displacements. I know that they use that. Probably going to be heavily relying on like, Lumen. So that'll be interesting to see how that runs. I know that Jedi Survivor, which I'm fairly certain runs on Unreal, does run like shit. But that's an EA issue. That's not a Unreal issue, I don't think. Because that runs like shit on my PC as well. And I talked to some people and it runs like shit on PS5 as well. It should just like straight up not be allowed. So yeah. Let's go into the passive or the aggressive state rather. So what we do is, I guess we kind of do the same thing that we did before in here, which is we just check one thing at a time when we like enter the state, and then from there we can try over and over and over again. So this will be alt attack, and then we'll have alt attack to passive. I guess if the only difference between these two, this one just does the taunting animation. Okay, so there's actually a difference between the two. Yeah, so then these do need to be different. I was going to say, if the only difference between the two is that these this one goes to the passive state, it can just be a different exit condition, but there's like actually different behavior between the two. So alt attack to passive, then we'll give this we'll remove the delay task before I forget, which goes to passive on state complete. That makes sense, yes. Sibling state will be alt attack to taunt. We'll set up the transitions for that a little bit later. Sibling states, let's see. So this will be the close-up attacks, and then we'll do the far away attacks. So the nice thing is that close attack, I can actually reuse this task that we made here, the Set Reaper Bull thing. And no matter what like substate it chooses, it's going to be choosing one of the substates because it has like a handful of different attacks that it can do, I think. That's how we do this, right? Because it has a couple that have like cooldowns on it. It's always going to be stopping its movement. So, and then re-enable the movement when it leaves this and goes back to like the base aggression state. Again, love that. We'll set up the actual attacks in a moment. Because these are a little counterintuitive to do. I ended up going with a like integer picker essentially for all these. But I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do like a percentage chance, because that's how the random entry condition works. And then these are the attacks at a distance, which also have like a couple of things going for them. So that'll be a sibling state, distance attacks. And I guess the distance attacks also do that thing, right? Matter of fact, I think all of them do. So there probably should be a state where he's just moving for a bit as well. And I think after aggression, we just move him into a waiting waiting state. Because otherwise he's going to be constantly attacking. We can even make something where he can potentially like attack more than once. Like have that waiting state, have an entry condition that is just a 50% chance or a 30% chance or something like that. Or a 70% chance, depending on like how you want to balance that. But then also have that waiting. Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to make this before like we get too far away from it. I'm just going to call this wait. And it's going to have an entry condition of a random chance. And the entry is there's going to be like a, let's say 75% chance that it waits after an attack. That's pretty high. We might lower that down a little bit. But then also we're going to put in a transition on tick to check if condition, it'll transition to close attack directly on a distance compare, right? So we'll compare the actor location to actor location of actor to actor target. It's supposed to have a target. It doesn't have a target because this inherits off of Reaper boss, which is a C++ class. Oh. Okay. That's not ideal. I forgot about that. Let's take a look at the blueprint enemy base. Because I thought it was going to inherit off of that. Luckily, it doesn't need to do anything that it does here in event tick. Does it need to do anything to do with this? It doesn't need to do anything with GeoIDs because it's a boss fight. It doesn't necessarily need to set its own reference to the health bar because we can do that in the level blueprint, so that's fine. The only thing is the target thing, but we can just copy that over. That's fine. And then it already has its own implementation of the damage interface, so that shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, we don't even like need. Well, we can set its focus so that it automatically like rotates. That's nice. Now it has a target as well. Well, we need to make that a variable, but now it has a target as well. So we can actually access that. So distance to actor target. There we go. And I think we set that distance to be 700 or less in the behavior tree, I think. Yes, 700. Very small on screen, you probably didn't see it, but believe me, it's at 700. So yeah, if while it's waiting, it goes into 700 or less distance, it will immediately go ahead and attack you again. The idea is that I don't want you to be able to like whittle it down too much. I do think, however, that there should be a slight amount of delay still in which he doesn't move after he does an attack. Do I have that anywhere in here? I don't think I do, but I think that's the thing that we should have. Well, there's a sequence actually. So yeah, it waits for a handful of seconds. So yeah, we do need to do that. So let's like add a couple of child states here. This will just be basic attack. And then I don't remember what, like I think 2 of these are the same. And then it has like a projectile attack as well for the distance, and it has a couple of swing attacks for the close up. So this will then be the firewall attack, which is in a different thing. There we go. And a sibling state, and this will be the effectively Sephiroth's Heartless Angel attack. If anybody is familiar with Final Fantasy VII or Kingdom Hearts. I'm just going to call it Heartless Angel, to be honest with you. Because that is what it is. It just reduces you back to 1 HP, unless you hit him first. So yeah, the basic attack is just has an entry condition of random. And this is kind of where you actually, better ID. I was going to give these all random value conditions, and I was going to say this is where you think that all 3 of them need a 33% chance because there's 3 of them. But actually not quite how it works, because if you do that, it's going to choose this one 1/3 of the time, and then it's going to choose either one of these, well, 2/3 of the time, but 1/3 of the time out of that is going to choose this one. So it won't actually be evenly split, but I think State Tree has a built-in stuff for this, because instead of doing children in order, I can just try selecting them at random. And that way I can still put in the countdowns for them, or the cooldowns. And if it tries to pick them, it'll see, oh, I actually can't enter this one yet. So I'll try to do a different one at random instead. So it actually has a built-in random picker, which makes my life a lot easier. It doesn't have a built-in cooldown system. For some reason, didn't feel like doing that. Does have a random picker, so all's forgiven. And that's the thing with these state trees, right? They are built a lot more with potential randomness in mind. And I think randomness is like that cornerstone of making something feel alive. Not too random. There's a balance between randomness and responsiveness. But you don't want it to just be responsive, because that just becomes like an algorithm. And at the end of the day, everything that you program is going to be coming down to an algorithm, but just shut up, essentially. Yeah, the basic attack is not going to have any entry state. The entry condition is going to be a cooldown for these 2, though. So I'm going to make 2 cooldown properties, and I'm probably going to make them shared between the close and the distance attack, because I can do that more easily now than I did in the behavior tree. So we'll call this the... I hate how renaming this works. Firewall countdown, cooldown. I don't know why I keep calling them countdowns. I guess, in a way, that is still what they are. I guess I can just do this. And then Heartless Angel, cooldown. Can Square Enix sue me of variable names? It's a fantastic question. Probably not, right? I'm going to pretend like probably not. So yeah, this is the firewall attack, so we can do this, and then for the Heartless Angel attack, we... That's actually a very interesting question. Like I said it as a joke, but that's actually an interesting question. I'm gonna stick with probably not. Let's just make this 30 and this 20. Well, let's make this 20 and this like 50. Because it is a bitch ass move. What did I set them to here? 15 and 30. Holy shit. That is insane. Yeah, don't do that. So yeah, the transitions here, they I guess they can go back into a root because that just immediately goes into aggressive anyway. Right? So that's kind of fine. Well, no, because these need to go into wait after they're done, actually. Yeah, they do. Well, but okay, now we get back to the idea of I think the wait just needs to for the basic attack, the wait always needs to happen. So I think we don't make this an entry condition. I think we make this a like exit condition because after a basic attack, I effectively always want them to wait for like a second. So let's get rid of this. Also add in the delay task here. Along with the Reaper movement pool. I'm just gonna make this like I think it's 1.5 seconds with a random deviation of 0.2, what I had before. So I'm going to stick with that, not 15. Are you insane? So we basically like wait here. And then here on transition complete, we have a wait transition with just a random chance instead. Let's say that this is a 35% chance for it to wait for like a second afterward. Now it always needs to wait. Is it such an aggressive boss? It really is, isn't it? Well, I guess when it attacks at a distance, I have a wait sequence in there before it does anything as well. I think about it. So attack at distance just starts with wait and then goes into one of the substates, effectively. Yeah, that seems somewhat more reasonable. So yeah, here, attack at distance, what we're going to do is I'm going to give this a I don't know why it's not just called wait. It's called delay. It's annoying. A 4-second delay, and then it has like. But we might need to make that like a separate thing because this might like fuck with this. Yeah, so we try to select children at random. Yeah, I think we give this. No matter what, this needs to try to select its children at random. But then how am I gonna like build in the delay before it does this? I guess what I do is it doesn't go into this state when, yeah, so I guess what I do is it checks these in order. So it tries to do this one. If it can't do that one, it tries to do this one. If it can't do that one, it will try to do this one. If it can't do that one, it will try to do a waiting node, which will then lead into the actual distance attacks. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. So let's add a child state here. Wait distance attack. So what this does is this always will catch essentially the default flow before going into a distance attack. So we can always like ensure that the delay about like 4 seconds with half a second of random deviation happens. And when that is complete, we move on into what's essentially just the next state, right? We can make that like a hard link, but just the next state, which is this. And as long as we're in this state, which will have child states of its own, I think I had 4 of them before, which it will pick at random. Yeah, okay. I think that is how we do this. That makes sense to me. I'm just thinking if there's a way to combine these easily, but I don't think there is. So let's just... and then I think we have project style attack. I think we have like a dashing attack or something for distance attacks. And the dash attack will always go into the waiting state as well, I think. These other ones, not so much. Yeah, okay. Now that we have all that set up, let's actually fill out these abilities, right? Because that's what we're here to do at the end of the day. Doing abilities. So we have the Reaper boss. Yeah, so a bunch of attacks. This is dash attack 1, dash attack 2, right attack. This is normal Reaper. Really didn't think this through. Well, one thing that I do know. No, just ability. Is that we have the Reaper like ultimate attack, which is I think the Reaper boss teleport attack. Which has the... Oh, we need to do that one at a time, actually. Yeah, this needs to have like 2 child states as well. Because this also then, I think, needs to move into... Well, no, because this moves into passive. Yeah, this already like moves into passive, so that's fine. This is the thing that needs to have 2 different ones, because this needs to move into taunt without going passive, which... is different. But we can make it not different. I have an idea. So these can share the same transition to passive, which makes them literally identical. except that this one only happens when it's at 5%, but we're going to actually move the difference of that into here. So let's call this just ultimate attack, and this just moves into passive. And what it does is it does the Reaper Boss teleport attack. I'm just going to check real quick if that's the one that it should be. Yes, I think it is. Yeah, you see it already like does the spline stuff in the ability itself, which I guess doing it twice can't hurt. Well, literally speaking, it probably can, but it's fine. Yeah, so then we put a check in here, essentially, which is, before we do all that, on a condition where we check, instead of the character's health, we check character defense. This is super easy. I guess that's we should do that on a percentage basis as well. So the only thing that we need to change over here is defense and defense instead of health and health. And then the entire rest of this can essentially be the same. So we might as well like just promote this to a variable, right? Like, does this give me a proper drop dummy? It does. There is something that we said for combining these, but I'm not going to. Not at the moment, anyway. Maybe we'll circle back to this in the future and realize that it's nicer to do this as a combined thing. Probably will be, but for now, I'm just gonna like leave that be where it is. So yeah, the condition here is going to be defense. Oh, I messed that up. Hold on. This should be character health, because that's what I'm using already. And the new one that I made should be hold on, there we go. Defense, which also means that we have to go back in here and set this back to health, max health. Oh, I didn't even change the right thing. I meant to change that string, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. Anyway, so yeah, that's defense, and then the description will be defense is condition then variable. So let's try that again. This will be the wrong button. This will be replace with defense check. So defense percentage is less than 1, which means that it's 0, or at least like 0.5 or whatever, but it doesn't have that much defense. So if it's less than 1%, it's likely just 0. I could make a thing specifically to check the value instead of the percentage. Wouldn't be that difficult to change this to doing that. But I also don't really care because, again, unless this thing has like 20,000 defense or something like that, where it actually is more than a couple of hits between 1% and 0%, If it has less than 1%, it's going to have 0. It'll be fine. So yeah, we check if it has less than 1% defense, and if it does, we move into like yet a different state, which is restore defense. And that will move back into like root afterwards. And otherwise it just moves back into root. Or into aggressive, that's same difference. So that way these two like ultimate attack things now essentially do the same thing. Which means that I can put a new countdown in here for a float. At least keep that dial. Alt attack. And we can put a cooldown in here first and foremost. And let's say that can only do that once a 30 seconds or so. 50 seconds. Let's do 50 seconds. Because it takes a while to like do the ability itself. And then it also probably wants to have like a 50% chance of doing it. And then the close attack has an entry condition of a distance. We set this up before. Different state, I guess. Maybe it was in Texas. I don't know. It's the worst fucking joke I've ever seen. Yes, I know. That's not equal to 700. We do like any of these, which have their own cooldowns. Mix them at random. That's fine. Close attack. Otherwise, it goes to the wait for distance attack, which waits for 3.5 to 4.5 seconds, and then it does one of the distance attacks, which also need to have the entry conditions for the cooldowns. We're getting there, and then things are going to break, and then we won't be there anymore, because that's how programming works. Nothing ever just works. It would altogether be too nice. I guess a projectile attack doesn't really need to have a cooldown. Neither does the dash attack. Because the dash attack, realistically, yeah, it's going to move you into being more likely to do any of these attacks anyway. And a projectile attack happening more than once is like actually kind of just fine. I don't really mind that. And before doing these, it had a bit of cooldown to begin with. And specifically for these two attacks, he stands still for a while as well, and gives you the opportunity to get close to him and do an attack. I don't think you necessarily really like need him to stand still afterward as well. But let's give him a percentage chance to do so anyway. Right, because this doesn't have, it has an entry condition of about 75%. Yeah, so let's just do that. On state complete, we make it go to the waiting states. We need to actually fill out the abilities as well before I forget to do that. That's kind of important. Again, I don't think that this one necessarily needs to wait. It might be better if it doesn't wait, actually. And I also think that the projectile attack might not want this happening on it, so we might take that off of this state, but we'll take a look into that after doing like initial testing. Well, after the dash attack, you do want him to wait, because that's actually where he makes himself vulnerable for like a second, so that makes sense. And these attacks are both kind of brutal, so you want to give him like a little bit of a opportunity to do something. Yeah, no, I think all of that makes sense. I'm thinking that we maybe want to like set the amount of wait time to be a parameter, so that we can set how long it waits after every single state when we enter set state. So we can reuse that waiting node. More flexibly. I don't know. For now, though, before we do anything else, the most important thing is colors. Aggressive colors. Aggressive colors. And then passive colors. Like red and green. I guess the waiting color and restore defense color is going to be like yellow, because that's my miscellaneous color, effectively. Miscellaneous. That's exactly what it is, so let's just call it by proper name. These are aggressive. I guess waiting and passive are green, and then this one I'll call it yellow. And immediately it looks so much more professional, doesn't it? Because colors. I had the same thing with my to-do list, right? These were all just like borders, like boxes, and then I made them rounded, and they just looked a lot better, like instantly. It's kind of funny how that like works, but it does. Okay, let's populate these things. So we have our ultimate ability already in here, right? That's the teleport attack. Yes, it is. Then we have got the close attacks, which, oh no, these need to be red as well. There we go. The basic attacks are just that, the basic attacks, but I don't know. Did I really call them Reaper attacks? I've got Reaper Dash Attack 1, Dash Attack 2, Reaper Projectile, Slow Attack. Surely Slow Attack is... Oh, hold on, they're just all in here. Yeah, so that's the Slow Attack. So that's at least one of them. Teleport Attack, we have Projectile, we have Dash Attack 1 and 2. Which ones are these? I guess these are just like the quick attacks 1 and 2, right? Yeah, so pretty much just this one, and then I'm guessing this one. That might be it. Reset defense is also a ability, it seems. So that's not an ability. That's just a... Oh no, it is. What the fuck? What is Reaper basement? Reset defense. I should probably just make a task that applies gameplay effects, eh? That seems like a good thing to do. But for now, I think that that kind of works. Then the firewall attack is, well, I think I actually called it fire circle or something like that, but shouldn't be that difficult to do. So that is, I think I would just like type fire, circle fires. Very descriptive. It's a circle of fire, to be fair. Did I call it Heartless Angel in here as well? Angel of Death is what I call it. Well, let's just call it Angel of Death everywhere then, because I don't want Square to sue me of variable names, right? It's still mostly a joke. But for consistency's sake, it's probably good to do anyway. Yeah, after Angel of Death, definitely want you to wait for a moment. To give me the opportunity to like hammer away at you. Yeah, so then we just do the same thing here again. We do ability, circle fires, ability Angel of Death, ability for projectile attack, which we have right here. And then that's another transition. That's not what I want to do. And then an ability for the dash attack. And that's actually the thing that I'm worried about, because Reaper dash is kind of weird. Because it does some weird shit, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so it plays the dash attack and uncompleted ends the ability and then moves into a normal basic attack. So, okay, that's actually not that big a deal. That actually probably works better in here anyway, because what we do is we, instead of going into the wait state, we just go into the close range basic attack state, which already has a selection of the 3 different attacks that he can do. And instead of doing this on state complete, we just do it on tick to make sure that it's extra responsive, because we just do it based on distance. Yeah, again, I think this is going to be one of those things where it does straight up just work better. Wait, what are we doing? Actor. I just wanted to get actor location of actor. Can I not do that? Wait, what? Oh. Just being a bit of an idiot. Actor target. Somebody's texting me. Of course. Let's say less than 700. It's not equal to. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Except that I didn't actually put in the dash. Reaper dash. Projectile. Angel of Death. Firewall. Angel of Death, Firewall basic attacks. Alt attack. Wait, passive. Oh, restore defense. Yeah, so that's a pretty good moment to make a task. State tree task, apply gameplay effects, because this is actually going to be fairly nice to work with, because what we can do is just make an active variable. If it's an instant effect, it'll just like do it instantly, but we can pretty much automatically make it lose a certain gameplay effect when it exits the state as well, right? So what we can do is, like, this needs to be an active variable before we do anything else. People learn to send text in one fucking thing. I'm just gonna mute my phone real quick. Yeah, okay, so we get gameplay ability system component. Then we apply gameplay effect to self, I guess. Yeah, let's just do it to self. Promote the gameplay effect class to the to a variable. I guess we apply the level as well, just in case it matters. For the most part, I don't think it'll matter. And then we get this handle, which we can just promote to a variable, which we won't expose. Or we can remove active gameplay effects through that handle. So that way, if we, for instance, have like a state where you need to be invincible, I can add the invincibility related gameplay effect, which I already have, and we'll remove it once it exits the state again. But as long as it stays in the state, it will have that effect, because that effect has an infinite duration policy. So that's nice. And the wonderful thing is, if it is an instant effect, it won't be on there anymore, so this won't do anything. If it is a effect that has a duration that expired before the end of this state, this also won't do anything. This is not going to like break anything, but it does allow me to like make these things that are like state-based gameplay effects now, which is, I think, going to be kind of cool to have as an easy tool to be able to use. And you see how easy it is to set up, right? So let's, in this case, however, we're just going to do an instant effect, which somewhere, yeah, reset enemy defense. And then after that, it goes back to root. So yeah, I think his AI is now complete. So that means that he's going to kick my ass. Most likely. Let's give it a shot. Because I think I did make him quite aggressive. But we'll figure it out. He instantly does that attack. Okay, that's why. Yeah, so projectile attack. Projectile attack. Yeah, the projectiles should just like. Wait. I mean, it's working, isn't it? The projectiles aren't projectiling, and that is just because I think these things don't generate overlap events, right? Yeah, it's kind of stupid that the thing that you're hitting also needs to generate overlap events, but that's just how it is. So I was doing level streaming. Did I? Sure, that's fine. So this is just the entire level geometry. Cool. Though I suppose I don't want it to generate an overlap event on this thing, so it's good that it has a default way to deal with certain geometry not triggering overlap events, I suppose. I just wish by default it did, I guess. Anyway, it starts off with immediately doing this. It's because we're not checking. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's because we are not, in fact, checking the defense of this enemy. Because that should be less than or equal to, let's say, 45 out of 50. We went for so long without it crashing. It's a different kind of crash than I usually get, though, with stage 3, so that's still good. In a way. It's also still bad in some other ways because I don't know what I saved and what I didn't. I think I saved everything before testing. I should have. If I'm responsible, I did. Which means that I probably didn't. We're about to find out, though. We're going to say unless the blueprint crashes because the stage 3 did, in fact, actually corrupt. Which would be a pain. That didn't seem to be the case, so I'll just open everything back up right away and see how much progress we lost. No. Okay. Okay. I opened up the wrong state tree and I saw a bunch of blue states. I was like, no, no, I don't want that. That can be taken out of context. Apply gameplay effects, the last thing that we changed. Then we did this, and even that it's saved. So we literally didn't lose anything, I'm pretty sure. Why does it say no sphere trace? That confuses me. But we should be good to go. Aside from the sphere trace thing, I don't know what's printing that. Sure, we'll just ignore that for now. And when I get close to you, oh, what the fuck? When I get close to you, you do an attack, right? No. Well, you did do an attack, to be fair. Just not a... Well, this is one of the attacks that you can do when I get close to you, to be fair. You're not supposed to be able to do that close to each other, though. So something seems to be kind of off about that. Why is that projectile still moving around? What the fuck? Oh, it probably didn't. It probably didn't save the level. So the overlap events here. No, it does generate overlap events. So what's up? That's kind of weird, man. Do you not have overlap stuff? Oh, you just straight up don't. You straight up don't do anything. Well, that's something, isn't it? Oh, and it only does this when the instigator is the same. Okay, so when it's not the instigator, the instigator will be the damage dealer. Target actor will be the target, I guess, and then we base damage. I don't know. Knockback 100. Piercing damage doesn't matter. And then the damage, I guess, will be of type Scythe. Okay, so you did that attack very close to each other twice. That Brewing attack. So that is weird. So cooldown's 20 seconds. I guess cooldown 20 seconds isn't long enough when it's counting from the start. Because it does take a while for all those things to like actually happen. So let's make that full on like 60 seconds for both of these. Oh, it also doesn't set the cooldown timer when it does it from a distance. So that might have actually been the issue. Angel of Death, let's set that to like 90 seconds then. So that only does it like a couple of times throughout the fight. Once, twice, maybe 3 times, and then the fight should be over. Let's also make this cooldown thing like to get this the get description thing like from string. Then cooldown on. Can we get like the name of the property? That would be fantastic. Guess not. Maybe just name? No. That's a little annoying. Cooldown for seconds. So cooldown for 60, 90, 60, 90. Okay, let's do that again. And let's close down everything else so I can actually read my chat, which is very inactive today. I have it set to top chat, to be fair. Well, I did save everything. Oh no. Oh no, this is a stage 3 error. Oh no, 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 no. No, 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 please. Crash. Compiling blueprints, please. Please. Pretty please. Oh no. It's a different thing now. Array size 0. There's something fucked with this, like, altogether. Stage trees, ladies and gentlemen. Stage trees. I love them or hate them. I do both. I love working with them. I don't love the fact that they fuck up this much. Okay, so the way we try to solve this is we open an Explorer. I find the location where that thing is held, which is in my content folder within blueprints, within enemies, within ground. No, within characters within ground. And then I find the Reaper boss and I just placed into a different folder because the issue exists with it trying to load it into the blueprint. At least, well, historically, that's been the issue. So this will break that link. Worst case scenario, I just have to rebuild the state tree in a new asset because the asset got corrupted somehow. Best case scenario, it's just doing some weird. You see now it doesn't have any trouble. Best case scenario, it was just doing some weird stuff with the state tree there that I don't really understand how or why it did. And just relinking it will fix it. It'll fix it for a moment anyway. And afterwards, I'm going to go back and verify like the engine install and that kind of stuff because that has worked in the past as well. But yeah, for now, what I do is I go back into enemies, characters, Reaper boss. There we go. Go back in here. Put that back. Compile. Open that back up. And see if I can load. There was something about an array though. Is there an array anywhere in this thing that has a size of 0? I don't think there is. That would be in one of the abilities, presumably, right? 3, 1, 1. I think it's a backend type of thing because it happened when I was compiling, not even when I was trying to run it. So it doesn't even make sense for it to be related to one of my states. It's just epic fucking up, I think. So let's see what that's like. Oh, there we have the Heartless Angel. There we go. My lock-on system needs to be more aggressive as well, I think. It kind of tries to do like two different things at the same time there, and I don't really know why. But I guess when you're like this close by and the other two abilities are on cooldown, which they're not because one of them, well, there we go, is just stuck doing basic attacks, so that makes sense. But it also has like a pretty like good chance to just do that a couple of times before moving on to one of the like big abilities that it can do. The whole idea is that you like survive those attacks and do like a little bit, you know, this. Why did it do a projectile when I was right the fuck on top of it though? Well, it killed me. Well, I guess I don't have any like healing equipped either, so that's kind of on me. It feels like if that's what we're going to do, though, we can't rely on this type of damage dealing, just like getting up close to it and attacking it, because like, that is how you get killed in this fight. And that is kind of by design. But if that's the case, there needs to be more than two abilities that make him stand still for you to deal damage. And those abilities also only should activate when there's distance between you and it. Because otherwise, you might as well stay at a distance. Or well, when there's no distance. So it only should do that when you're close by, I think. So what I'm saying is I think I need like one or two more abilities for him. Anyway, we've now gone to the point, I think, where he should be allowed to start doing his ultimate attack. It's such an ugly attack as well. Or not. Fuck if I know. I guess it would be nice to have a condition that is like check a certain stat, either HP or defense, being below a certain amount and derive a percentage of all that. So if it is like at 50% HP, you should start like interpolating between 30% chance and then at like 0 it'll be 100% chance. That would be kind of nice. Something's not really like doing it. It certainly fucking seems like he should have done that attack by now. Wait, that's okay, that's it. So it's literally just RNG fucking with me, I guess. Okay, this boss needs a little bit more design work, I think. But I do think that we take away the Firewall attack and the Angel of Death from the distance attacks, and we just make that projectile and dash, and we give him like a little bit more danger on a distance as well, so that it actually is dangerous to maintain some distance. And then we need to have like one or two more abilities that essentially make him teleport away and make you follow along through danger to get to him to deal some damage. Because I think that's going to be the main gameplay loop for at least this boss fight. And I think that might be a good structure and a good framework to structure most boss fights as. Because I think that actually that works relatively well, I think. Not the teleporting away necessarily, but I think putting yourself in danger should be the key to opening him up to danger. Not the other way around. Staying in safety should be disincentivized. Staying in relatively safe areas, so in this case at a distance, most boss fights are probably going to be at a distance, should actively put you in more danger, potentially, without reward. But that means that you're always in danger. So maybe being at a distance is fine, because we don't need to disincentivize being at a distance if we are incentivizing being close up. And in some boss fights, it might be the other way around, right? I don't see many reasons that it would or could or should be, but it could be. So that's I think going to be the basic idea, is you can either be at safety or you can be at a location where you have opportunity to progress the fight. But that's then also being in danger. And I think that's the basic idea that we have here. I don't necessarily have IDs for those other abilities at the moment, is the issue. So what we'll do instead is I will save all of this. The boss fight is not balanced, but it works. And that's really all that we care about right now. I also think that this should be... Like it is already on a cooldown, isn't it? So it probably should be more than a 50% chance. I think this should be a 70% chance for him to do that. But yeah, I want to do all this. Then I want to close this. Then I want to restart the engine to see if it crashes again. Because if it does, we have a bit of a problem on our hands. A problem that I want to fix through like verifying the engine install before anything else. But that's pretty boring to look at. So I hope that it's just going to like not crash. Please. Ah, no, it's going to crash. And there we go. Crashed. Huh. Update available. Is there now? I can't verify because there's an update available. What are the odds that the update fixes it as well? Should we try? I think we should try. Live dangerously. I don't know how this is going to impact my bandwidth. If my stream is going to like me downloading this. I don't know how big the update is as well. Let's just Google real quick as well while we're at it. Because surely Unreal has like a 5.5.3 changelog. So let's just read that. Unreal 5.5.3 release notes. So if I'm not dropping any frames, but I'm also... Oh, that's fucking 4 gigabytes. Okay. This is 5.5 as a whole. I don't really care about that. 5.5.3. Still no. Hello? Surely this is 5.5.3, right? I guess we'll see. In the meantime, I guess I'm just gonna sit here. I don't know. This is kind of the issue at this point. Because right now I'm updating the engine, so I'm not gonna launch the project because that would be insanity. But it's also 3.5 gigs big, and I'm starting to drop frames, as I was afraid. I'm downloading at like 2 megabytes per second, meaning that I'm downloading, what is it, 120 megabytes per minute, which means that I'm downloading, like in 10 minutes, 1.2 gigs, roughly. So it's going to take like 30 minutes to download this thing at my current speed. At which point we're going to be close to the end of the stream. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good use of anybody's time. But I also don't really have anything else that I can do outside of the engine that I can pick up right now. So I think we might just call it here today. And I will update you guys with the next stream on whether or not I manage to retain my sanity and fix up that behavior tree crash, or state tree crash rather. I'm hoping that this hotfix just miraculously is also a fix for the thing that I am running into. That would be ideal. Did like 5.5.2 change anything about state trees? That's the question, right? Because I did have a 5.5.2 hotfix list here with like 170 changes. We can look at those real quick. If that made any difference. I guess I can just random children selection ignores last state in state tree has been fixed. That's nice. Oh, they did change something about the state tree that does have something to do with a crash. They updated in 5.5.2, which I already have. This probably is not the issue that I'm having, but who knows. A crash occurs when a state tree parameter is set to a variable type that also referenced in a state tree task. That seems like something that I am doing, right, with floats. So maybe there is hope in the universe that the last hotfix didn't properly fix this. The issue that I'm getting has to do with an array, so it's probably not that. Then again, maybe it like keeps all the types in an array or something. Probably not. I said it out loud. That sounds probably not. But maybe they fucked up and they're trying again, and that's part of this update that we're getting right now, I can hope. That's pretty much all there is to it. So they also say critical issue updating to 5.5.2 causes skeleton meshes asset overrides to be lost. Doesn't really matter to me. But I do recommend that you wait until 5.5.3, which is presumably all fixes coming in the coming days. That's presumably what we're getting right now. So maybe there was an issue to do with this as well. Who knows? But again, it's going to be another 3 gigabytes. So yeah, I'm going to call here a little early for today. We'll be back on Tuesday with probably level design again, because we now finished all the AI stuff on the sidetrack that we were doing. Which has been a fantastic, like 2-week little mini adventure, but we need to get back to doing platforming level design and all that kind of good stuff. And that's got me equally as scared as coming up with new abilities for that boss fight, because I have about 0 ideas for either. So we might just be doing some magic abilities for the player. I don't know. I can't procrastinate the level design forever, so I probably should do that. And then after we finish up the level designs, because this is the last like actually big level that I need to design for this dungeon, we can do some magic, and after that I think maybe we can like do the boss fight for that dungeon as well. At which point we'll have like 2 out of the 6 dungeons blocked out at least, or have like temporary version of them. Then we need to do like a fuck ton of work to actually make those into finished products. So we're nowhere near like 2/6 the way through finishing the game. But we're starting to make like good progress at a pretty good pace, I would say. So I'm quite excited. Anyway, it's been interesting doing this state rate.